In this video, I'm going to teach you how to add a background zoom in scrolling effect using Elementor Pro. And we're going to do this without any code. Now, this is what we're going to be creating. Now, as you can see, we have the sci-fi website, but the cool part about it is whenever we scroll, as you can see, it looks like the portal is zooming in and the planet is also moving with it as well. See that? You see how this image, this portal here, is going to expand whenever we scroll, and it looks like you're entering the portal. So I'm going to show you how to pretty much do all of this, also add these images here, and how to add this portal and this planet. I will provide all of those down in the description so you guys can download it and apply it in this video. So that's what we're going to be creating in this video. I hope you guys end up enjoying it. If you do, make sure to like it for the YouTube algorithm. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any of my videos. Now, if you do want to improve your Elementor skills, I do have some courses down in the description and they definitely help out the channel. Now, before I forget here, I want to give a huge shout out for Elementor for reaching 10 million subscribers. They did send me this cool souvenir here that I did want to unbox with you guys. It is kind of cool, and I do like the cool design that they went with it. It's very, very cool. So let's go ahead and just unbox this. I don't really do these, so I'm not really a professional. But hopefully I had something set up a lot better, but this is what's going on right now. So let me just remove this here. And as you can tell, we have this cool little souvenir here. Don't mind my fingers there. So this is what we got, and it's pretty awesome. And yeah, they reached 10 million active installs, so that is a huge milestone, and they thought that it would be great to send these to everyone that has helped the community out. And that includes, I guess, myself. I'm very fortunate enough to be able to help out the Elementor community and help out all of you guys. And I appreciate every single one of you guys for subscribing and supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. And this is just an awesome addition that I could add to Google here to keep him some company. And I actually wanted to read this. I thought this was pretty cool. I know that it was sent out to pretty much a lot of people that that helped out the community. But here it is for those of you guys that want to check it out. But I can actually read it for you guys. It says, "Hey Uriel, the past 6 years have been quite a ride for Elementor. Early on, we learned that what makes the journey great is the people you meet along the way. When looking back on what helped Elementor reach 10 million active installations, we find that your involvement was a major source of motivation and inspiration for us. So we feel this is the right time for a huge thank you. For us being a part of the WordPress ecosystem, it is great privilege and an opportunity to help web creators succeed. We make sure everything we do lives by the values of open source and community-driven collaboration. We strive to always be open to hear your voices. Please keep doing what you're always done. Ask questions, make suggestions, post comments, review, share, rate, or even rant. These contributions help us create the best experience possible for you and all your users. Looking forward to celebrating the next milestones with you. With gratitude, Yoni Luxembourg and Ariel Klingston." I am horrible at pronouncing names, especially when they're not in English. But I have a signature, so kind of awesome. And it's really cool. So without further ado, here's the video. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. And as always, thanks for watching. So let's go ahead and begin here. Add a section, add a column, and then go into your column, go into your height. Let's add a minimum height. Set this to VH, viewport height, and then set it to 100. Now from here, make sure you're on your section. Go to your style, go to your background. On your background type, click on the brush, and on your color, we're gonna go ahead and add this color here. Now, let me go ahead and set this up to my global. And this is the color that we're gonna be using. So from here, let's add a background image. That's very important. And go ahead and add this image here. I'll have this down in the description so you guys can download all these images that we end up using. Go ahead and click insert. And let's go ahead and set this up to center. We can leave it as is, set it to no repeat, and then set it to cover. There we go. And we'll set up the scrolling effect a little bit later here. So now go into your background overlay and click on the brush icon and make sure your color here is set to our global color that we created, and add this image here. There we go. Now that's perfect. Now you can leave that as is. You don't really need to center it. The only thing I'm gonna do is, you know what, I'll just have it set to cover just in case. And then let's go ahead and set this to fixed. So when we scroll, we have that scrolling effect there. All right, so that now that's all set up, and we can set up the opacity pretty much how it is. Set it to 0.5, that's fine. Go into your background, and then from here, go into scrolling effects. And this is where we're gonna add our cool scrolling effect. So let's go into scale, have it set to scale up, set it to 10, and then set the bottom all the way to 1%. Sorry, set the bottom to 0%, and then set the top to about 30%. There we go. So now when we scroll, we should see a scrolling effect. So we don't see one just yet, but it's because we need to add some more content to the bottom here. So let's go ahead and add a template here. And I'm just going to choose a random template. Let's see here. You know what? What I actually want to do is I'm going to mix this template with I think with another one down here. So let's add this real quick. Now this is with Elementor Pro, so please make sure you guys have Elementor Pro. So now as you can see, we have that effect here, right? That cool effect. So go into your first section here, go into style, and set your background color to our global color that we created here. And let's go ahead and change the color of our text. Now for our font, we are going to be using Inter. That is a great font, and I do want to use that font. So let's change our text to white. And let's make sure that now we can leave that as is for now. I was going to change my minimum height. You know what, let's just remove the minimum height right now, because I know we're going to need to adjust that later on. And let's set it to 100 from the top and 100 from the bottom. And now let's go ahead and actually remove this here. We don't need that. So I'm going to use this. Now what I want to do is let's go ahead and actually add some text to this section here. And instead of step into the wild, we can put step into the portal. Sounds better. And we can just replace this text here with some lorem ipsum text anyway. And we'll do the same down here. And I don't want to have the same repetitive text, so I'm just going to grab this lorem ipsum here. Just to kind of show you guys how to create that cool effect. There we go. So it seems to be glitching out right now. That's fine. We're still going to add some more stuff to this. So let's add another template here. And I believe the one that goes at least decently well with this one is, it's going to be this one here. Now, of course, you can change the content however you would like. I'm just giving you guys an example. There we go. So of course this is different font, but just for this video, I'm going to leave it as is. Of course, you don't want to have different font going all around. But this is just for the purpose of this effect here that I wanted to show you guys. Now let's add a planet in here. So go ahead and add an image right under there. And then let's upload our planet that we have here. Go into advanced, go to positioning, set this to custom, then be a custom width, We want it to be fairly large. Let's do about 800 pixels around there. And then let's set this to absolute. Set this to the bottom. And let's go ahead and bring this down here a bit. And then let's bring this up here to this side. There we go. All right, now, right, for some reason, Elementor is glitching out and it's not moving, but actually, you know what? Let's go into my advanced and go into motion effects. We actually want to make sure this planet is moving. Go into scrolling effects. And let's set up our vertical scroll. Let's leave that as is, and let's set up a horizontal scroll as well. So we want it to move towards the left side. Okay, so now that is kind of moving a little bit. Is it moving? No, I don't think it is. But let's test this out because I think it is glitching out. It's just not showing in the editor. But as soon as we see it in the live version here, it should work properly. There we go. So now it's moving, as you can tell. Except I want it to move a little bit faster. Let's adjust the speed on that. So let's go over here. Maybe adjust the speed a little bit. Not too much actually, but let's just test how that would be. We don't want it to move too fast, but all right, so that is a little bit better, but you know what? Instead of it moving to the top, let's have it move it. Let's move it down a little bit. So for a vertical, let's set it to down instead. There we go. Now the only issue that I don't want it to go through this section here. So what I'm gonna do, let's see here. Let's bring this above a bit more. Let's go to positioning, and let's bring this a little more to the top there. Still kind of touches that. So you know what? Actually, that's fine because we're gonna actually add an image here, so it's not gonna matter. So let's add another section. And then in your settings, go ahead and set it to full width. Set it to no gap. And go ahead and add an image. And I'm going to add this here. And go into your style. Make sure this is set to 100%. Sometimes it glitches out like that. Now let's go ahead and move this to the top here. So let's set this to EM. There we go. And then now make sure this is set to at least 5 so it covers it. So it doesn't go right through it. Let's do the same thing for this one. There we go. All right, so now we won't have that issue there. Now that's perfect. Okay, so as you can tell, we have this white spacing here. So what we need to do is just shift this a little more higher. Let's see if we can correct that. There we go. But we have a little problem here. We see that our text is also a little bit transparent here, and it's going through one of the images. So we need to fix that. So go into your column here, go into advanced, and your Z index, set that to about 5. That should be fine. And you know what? If it's not working individually, I think we're just going to have to go into each element here and just set it to 5 instead. Yep. There we go. Now I want to shift this up. So I'm going to see if I can click on my column here and go into click EM again. You can even use percentage, but just so that we can shift this a little bit up, right? There we go. Now the planet is going to be shifted a little bit, but that's fine. That still works anyway. Okay, well that's working perfectly. Except I don't like this big spacing here. So I'm actually going to remove the spacing. So go into your section and go into advanced here, and let's just remove that top padding here, just so then we don't have that spacing. That is why I ended up removing the minimum height set to that, just because we were going to adjust that anyway. So now that's looking pretty good. Now, if we did want to shift this a little bit more higher, we could just do a negative as well. Shift this up a bit, maybe do EM instead. It's up to you how you wanted to go about doing that. Now, in case I didn't mention, I actually made this little graphic here. Let me actually click on this and go in. Oh, it's an image, I just remembered. So this image, I actually made this on Adobe XD. It's very simple to make. So you can just create it on there and then export it as a PNG. You can even use Figma as well. So just get the right sizing for that. I think the sizing was, so it's 7100 by 702. So I'm sure you guys can get the right sizing. If you guys did want to change the color, that's why I'm kind of mentioning that, just in case, because you do have to change this color to match your background. That is very important. But this is just kind of showing you guys some inspiration on what you can do with Elementor's current scrolling effects that we have access to, at least for right now. I know that Elementor's scrolling effects aren't the best, but if you are creative with it, you can create some pretty cool stuff. Let's go ahead and view this on the main site here. Now, of course, I would highly recommend that you add a transparent header up above. I do have plenty of videos on that on my channel. I'll try to link some up above just in case, where you guys can create a transparent header, but I'm sure a lot of you guys may know already how to do that. So the last thing that I wanted to do is just make this responsive, because I know that we're going to have some responsive issues here. We might. So looks to be pretty good on tablet for the most part. Let's go into mobile here. So this part we do need to adjust, as you can tell. So go ahead and click on this section here, and this would be the section that has your image. And let's set that to 0. Back again, let's just reset that, and then make sure that's set to EM again, and we can just bring that up a bit. Just place it wherever you would like, and then we can even adjust this one too. That's fine. If you wanted to adjust the text font, we could. I'm going to leave it as is for now. You can adjust that however you would like. If you wanted to add some more spacing to this, of course you can. Or you can do, oops. Actually, let's make sure we set that for padding, not margin. And let me actually remove this, set that to 0, and set maybe to 50 from the top. And from the bottom, we could do 50 as well. That's usually the spacing that I like to do, is 50 pixels for mobile. So let's see how that looks here. Now it looks great. The only issue is that the planet is kind of huge. And maybe the portal, we can go ahead and adjust that as well. Now let's just leave it as is, because it does kind of center it for us as well. And I don't really want to adjust that too much, because when you start to adjust it on here, you can have some issues when it comes to that. So let's just set it to center. I think is fine. And let's pull up our navigator here, and let's adjust our image that we had set up, our planet. Let's go to positioning, and let's shrink that a bit. Maybe move it a little more to the side. We don't want it too large here. Something like that, maybe a little smaller. There we go. Now let's see how this looks and test this out. I'm gonna remove this bar here that we have. And now let's go into inspect. And let's really see, let's make sure we don't have any of that selected. And let's start to shrink this and see if it's a little bit transparent. There we go. So it does work properly. And if we shrink this to about this size, it still works pretty well. As you can tell, we still have that nice zooming in effect on this. Now this isn't too bad either. This still works pretty good as well. Now we are having that glitch, but don't worry, I don't think it's an issue with our side. I believe it's not. It's probably just doing it. Let's see here. Okay, so is it the planet that's doing that? There doesn't seem to be anything in the way. It can't be the image. That's kind of strange, but let me go ahead and adjust it. I wasn't having issues with that earlier, so it's kind of strange, but we can go into the section just in case and go into layout and go into overflow and set it to hidden. I believe we shouldn't have an issue, but let me just click on this one as well, this section that has our other cool blocky image here, and let's set that to hidden as well, and let's see if we can resolve that issue, which is kind of strange that it's doing it, but okay. Okay, so now it seems like we resolved that issue. The only thing is that the planet is huge. So unfortunately, that is an Elementor bug. I mean, with any software, there's always bugs, and with every update, there's always bugs. I noticed that Elementor does tend to do that. They fix something and they break something else. I mean, it is a part of development, so I understand it. It is, you know, a little bit frustrating. I'm sure it's happened to you in the past where you tend to do something and usually it works, but for some reason this new update came out and some things don't work the way that they should, right? That's fine. With a little bit of CSS, we can go ahead and adjust this, and I hope Elementor fixes this issue in the future. So what we need to do is go into your planet image and then go into advanced, go into custom CSS, and we're just going to add a media query and adjust the size manually. So basically just do add media, add in some brackets there, do max width 767 because that is when the mobile version starts, and then add some curly brackets after that, and then go ahead and just type in selector. Now we could do selector image, but I find selector being better, just because if we do selector image, it's going to probably set it to the center. So that's what I did, and it kind of didn't work that great. So just do selector, and then after that add curly brackets, and then in between those curly brackets just type in width. Oh, we don't really need to do a max width, you could just type in width, and we're going to do 500 pixels, and go and do an exclamation point and then type in important, just so then this does get adjusted. So now if we click update and we refresh this, it should be all set. As you can tell, now it works properly, right? But like I said, it is a bummer that we have to fix this ourselves with code. But you know, like any software, there's always bugs, so it does tend to happen. But that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it.